So you suspect that your child has a disability that may be having an impact on their education. And so you set up an IEP team meeting with your school team, an individualized education program team meeting, to perhaps determine if your child does have a disability. And one of the team members says to you, Jen, why would you ever want to label your child?
Ugh. This is something I hear a lot. I hear it from clients who call me and tell me that somebody said that to them, sometimes not even at an IEP meeting, but outside, pulled them out afterwards and say, why would you want your child labeled? Or don't you think this is going to stigmatize your child? And I even sometimes hear it from parents who are asking me that question legitimately. If we agree to have him identified, is that going to stigmatize him? And they're concerned about it. So let's break it down first, and then we can give parents some practical tips on how to respond to it when they're asked that question. What it comes down to is this. From my perspective, and this is what I say to parents who ask me this question, what is far more stigmatizing than having a particular label on an IEP or having a particular eligibility category is not having skills. And if the path to having certain skills is getting specialized instruction and related services, then who cares what the paperwork says? I mean, the paperwork should properly reflect the disability and make sure that we're meeting the needs. But ultimately what really matters is whether in third grade your child is not reading versus whether or not your child has a particular educational record.
Right. And the other way that question might be asked is, why would you want to label your child? Why would you identify your child? And to which I think one of the responses can be, it's not that I want to label my child. I want to identify what my child's needs are, so we then as a team could meet my child's needs. So it's also taking that there's a negative connotation to the word label. It's actually identifying what a child's primary disability is.
Right,
so I think we have to reframe the negative aspect of, you're in special education.
Well, because what goes at the heart of that question is that there's still, unfortunately, all of these years after we've had the federal law that provides for special education services, we still in our society have some shame associated with disability and some shame associated with special education, which you and I spend every day making sure we eradicate in short order. But there's no shame in having a disability, and there's no shame in having a special education program. And if you want to help your child work through that, you're going to have to accept that and teach your child that, and the team's going to have to embrace that as well. So just taking the connotation of there being anything negative about special education out of it by saying, I'm not looking for a label, I'm looking for him to be educated, or I'm looking for her to receive the program she needs. If this is the way to do it, then that's what I want. I think it's important to keep in mind that in the context of what we're talking about here, in all likelihood, this may be your first or maybe second meeting with your child's special education team about this child, because the context is really in considering whether or not the child's eligible for services. So it's a beginning of a relationship, and it may be the beginning of a long relationship. And that statement, I'm hoping, isn't coming from a special educator, because if it did, that would be very worrisome, because one would hope a special educator wouldn't ask that question. But you don't necessarily want to respond with a very hostile response. You're going to be dealing with your school district for a while in all likelihood. And so I would say taking away the shame from it, taking that negative away and saying, look, let's relook at this. What are we doing now? We're not labeling my child. We're not stigmatizing my child. We are giving my child the help he or she needs.